Greetings from Cleveland, Ohio. Today is Saturday, September 10th, 2022. It is 4:48 p.m. and a very cool 80 degrees. Doesn't feel that hot because the clouds are out and about, but right now we're outside of St. Ignatius Church at the corner of West Boulevard and Lorain Avenue. So you've got a BP gas station across the street, and then right here is the corner of West Boulevard and Lorain. I believe in one of my previous videos I showed, did I show it? I think I did, me going down to Edgewater Park, like starting right at that intersection over there. So if you went northbound, meaning going that way down West Boulevard and just took West Boulevard all the way to the lakefront, you'll reach Edgewater Park. But today we're not going to Edgewater, and we're not going south of Lorain. We're going to be going north of Lorain, and we'll see how far we get on that journey. But along the way on Lorain, I'll try to tell a little bit of history from my perspective, starting with, I guess I can mention, that CVS store that's across the street there. When I was a young kid growing up, that CVS was a grocery store. If I'm not mistaken, I think it was a Rego's or a Rego's. I can't exactly remember the name, but that seems to ring a bell. But it has been a CVS for a very long time now, and that would be some of the houses going more southbound on West Boulevard. And like I said, this is St. Ignatius Church that we're outside of right now. I brought my bicycle, so I'm going to be attaching the camera to my chest here in a second. I think before I do so, I'll try to walk in front of St. Ignatius Church. Although, yeah, there's people out there right now, so I don't want to act like I'm obtrusively filming them. Let's only park here and sit on my bike. But yeah, that's the front part of the church. Sorry, I know the sun glares in the way, but always a landmark, beautiful church on the west side of Cleveland. There's a lot of them, but this is got some nice architecture on it too. Again, that sun is right above the building, so this is probably the worst time possible to film it. But we're gonna go ahead and start our bike riding journey down Lorain Avenue. Okay, we are attached to the chest mount now, and we'll begin riding now. I tried to wipe the camera lens because I couldn't tell if it was a little bit blurry on that first part of the clip I shot. You got the parking lot for St. Ignatius on the left here, as well as the statue. And you do have to be careful this time of day because services are going on, so there's a lot of traffic pulling in. I would say this stretch of Lorain from West Boulevard to about West 105th doesn't have that much active businesses on it. This is St. Ignatius Elementary School on the left. So this isn't necessarily a glorified part of Lorain to show off. That's not to say there aren't businesses here, but it's not ones that I'm familiar with ever being really an active presence that I've needed to visit. Although right here you do see they've got a barber shop, Westown Community Development Corporation, some tax place. Like I said earlier, West 105th is where I usually think of Lorain Avenue becoming more active, which is coming up right here. There's a locksmith place on the left, E&A locksmith, and then you also have a building on the right there, which is so weird because that's supposed to be the E&A locksmith building, but I never see it. Like, it doesn't seem like they actually have a presence there. I don't know if that's a warehouse for them or what. That building's like burned down a few times as well. maybe just once, but it seems like it's burned down a couple of times in the past. Long Brothers Car Outlet is up ahead here on the left. We got a Wingstop that's a fairly new location on the right, although fairly new might mean like it's been around for 4 years already, but fairly new in the span of my lifetime. And then also on the right side over there is Westown Square. So I'll try to pause here in a second. On the left here is formerly, I think it was 3rd Federal way back in the day. Then it became Huntington Bank, but now it's a vacant building. And this is Dominoes. Anytime I get Dominoes pizza, I always come to this location here. This location used to be located by Thrush Park, across the street from Thrush Park, if you guys know where that is. I'm going to go to this next corner so that I'm not in the way of the parking lot in case cars are coming. This little grass median here. And then I'll face the right side. Alright, so like I said, over there was a McDonald's. You've also got Taco Bell, and then far on the left here, a PNC Bank. And then all the way in the back, you've got a Save-A-Lot. There's a Shoppers World. Oh, it must be some car debris in the street. You keep hearing several cars running it over. There's also a Family Dollar, a Rent-A-Center. Over there's a DLTR, Pizza Hut. 3rd Federal actually moved over there, and a few other places. Actually, let me take this off so I can zoom in on the footage too. Talk a little bit more about it for a second. So down there where that DLTR place is, it's now a clothing place, but that was Blockbuster Video when I was a kid. So anytime I wanted to rent a VHS tape as a kid, you go in there. I think, God, what was the price? I think it was like 5 days. You get it for $5, which kind of seemed expensive back then. McDonald's, just like all the other McDonald's, recently switched over to that new, very bland looking building. Because I remember when it had the colorful red and yellow building with the arches. Taco Bell did get a renovation over the years too, but PNC Bank I feel like's been the same. Now where Save-A-Lot is way in the distance over there, when I was growing up, that was a Finest grocery store. Then it became Tops, because Finest became Tops in general. And then I think for a brief time it might have actually turned into a Giant Eagle, but then Giant Eagle opened a new store at West 117th and I forget what cross section it's at, but it's the same lot where Giant Eagle and Target are right now, right next to each other. And then before all of that, way back, well before I was born, when my mom was growing up in this neighborhood, there was a Sears department store that took off pretty much this whole block. And if I recall correctly from what my mom has described to me, Sears presence was like almost right at the street level. So the Sears building was taking up the whole thing here, and see where the sidewalk is? That's where like the front of the store would be. And it was a pretty massive store. But yeah, she always reminisces about that, how she misses the days of Sears and Sears being here, and how it was such unique thing to have it right in the neighborhood. Try to find pictures online of it, but there's really not that many pictures of it. I believe she actually got a unique like sky view image of it one time many years ago. I'll have to ask her one day if I can peek at that and try to map it out, because otherwise there's really not much on the map that you can discern from it. So let me go ahead and reattach this. Actually, before I reattach it, I'm going to ride across. Dimitri's Family Restaurant has been here forever. Still open, so it must be having its regular clientele. And then over there is a Burger King. And that Burger King location or spot right there is kind of a little bit infamous for the wrong reasons. Not because of the Burger King, but that location in general. Because if you remember the Cleveland girl kidnappings, where like 3 girls were kidnapped and eventually they were rescued on the east side. But that big story always says that at least one of the girls was kidnapped like on this intersection right here in front of the Burger King area. Or I don't know if they were kidnapped at the time, but coerced to be picked up at that point, and of course they didn't know what was gonna come of it. And then this is O'Reilly Auto Parts. That was a Murray's when I was growing up. And then right across the street there where it says Sleep Well in Bedding, and also this lot where Burger King is now, that used to be an arts and crafts type of store. It was something else before that, I'm pretty sure, but I can only speak for a lot of these things during my lifetime. Let me reattach this to my chest now. Alright, back to bike riding. You gotta be careful with a lot of these sidewalks. They end up getting littered with glass. That's why you see me weaving in and out. Try to avoid the glass as much as possible. So you've got another stretch here between 110th and just shy of West 117th, where the left side of the street only really has this car lot. It's not really business oriented, and the right side of the street has a lot of like maybe corner stores or barber shops. Over on the right on 114th, there's a Sam's Furniture and Mattresses. As we approach Bosworth on the left. So Bosworth is on the left, and then on the right side, if you went that direction, it would be West 115th Street. Over there across the street was a prominent place when I was growing up, because it was the library, Eastman Branch Library, the closest library to me, but that location is currently closed, as are the 2 other closest West Side locations. It's crazy how they're doing renovations on all the libraries closest to me at the same time. You would think they would stagger them out. Here's Cleveland Monfago Latin Grill and Bar. They have an outdoor dining section, but that area seems to be pretty well crowded. during a lot of times. Now this is the corner of West 117th and Lorain. I'm sure this looked very different back in the day. I've seen some pictures online. There was some form of a diner where you could see like a picture of Dennis Kucinich sitting and eating at the diner. I think it might have been located over there, maybe where the Rite Aid is now. Now if you went, this is West 117th, so if you went north about, I don't know, 2 to 3 blocks from here, you're crossing over the highway, and that's where Giant Eagle and Target would be. And then if you kept going, you would head into the Madison Avenue in Lakewood. I walked this intersection instead of riding my bike on it because a lot of times there's glass right in this area here. I don't know if it's the camera's picking it up, but I can definitely see it. Never really gets cleaned up. This is a neighborhood family practice on the left at the corner of 117th and Lorain. And Holy Land International Import Supermarket on the left. Bunch of glass here on the ground on the right. Doing my best to point things out while also making sure I'm avoiding the glass. Now here is the Variety Theater. I'll try to turn around and show it so that the sun glare isn't in the way. Or maybe I'll get off and walk for this one too. So the Variety Theater has been a much talked about project in Cleveland for years and years. And some bicyclist was riding by playing music. But I'm going to turn around here in a second. I believe it was Patrick Colvin, and that's why his name was up there, who was the guy who was motivated to really try to turn this around. Let me change my camera mode. But unfortunately, he passed away in 2021. But he got a lot of the initiatives. I'm saying he because I'm just assuming based on some of the stuff I read. He got some of the initiatives going, like helping the Variety Theater facade be lit up again. So if you drive by this at nighttime, it's all lit up as if it's an active theater. This used to be very popular back in the days when you can go here, I want to say in the, at least in the 70s, I'm pretty sure it was still open and active. And the plan was initially to revitalize this whole lot here, not just the Variety Theater, but all of these buildings. Because for all my lifetime, this is, I believe, all been dormant. And one of the other things that got funded was across the street there used to be some type of building, I'm not sure what, but those buildings were torn down and they built this parking lot with the intent of, oh, we're going to have this Variety Theater and various shops over here, so let's have a nice parking lot where people can come and park and then run across the street with this little halfway intersection here. And then that is a top hat decoration. So if I had been on a different angle, it's the shape of a top hat, a black top hat. Unfortunately, that project was done many years ago, so even though no one's had a reason to park in that lot, the hat is already deteriorated in some aspects. Just gotta grab a picture here of the Variety Theater. When I pass by this over the years, you'll randomly see cardboard cutouts of like Marvel characters or DC characters, which I'm never quite sure why that's really been the only changing thing. You can see this adaptive reuse mock-up was from December 2nd, 2013. So this mock-up gives a visual of what the hopeful intent was, that you would have the variety theater be redone. See, it says live music, movies, craft beer, and great food. They would have like outdoor dining, and then some of those other shops would be open, hopefully, whether it be food places or other things. And they did also redo some of this right here. Like they put in new, I don't know what you want to call those, little median things, curbside grass. I'm not sure if the bike racks were installed new, but I believe the benches down there were as well. And then they also had a mock-up for the proposed ground level plan for the variety theater. So let's see here, which one is Lorain Avenue? So this is Lorain Avenue, and it says alley right here. I believe this black gate right here is the alley. So this is the alley, and this is the marquee. So this is where that variety theater sign was. So the idea was that they would have like a bar when you came in, a restaurant, and then the big theater would be over here. And then there would be potentially one, well, it says number 2, but let's call it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 retail spaces. And I'm sure those could have been like expanded, like maybe one place could have taken up multiple ones of these. But it is a really huge lot, so it's a shame that it did not get developed. There was like a nighttime mock-up, and then that up there shows the parking lot, which has 87 spaces. Now, the one potentially hopeful thing for the development of this, and you can see some more cardboard cutouts that are just randomly over here. The one hopeful thing that still remains is that I believe the former owner of Mayhall's purchased this lot, this whole lot this year for like less than $500,000. So there's a chance, you see a cardboard cutout of Goofy, like what the heck, it's so random. There's a chance that this whole thing could be salvaged and redeveloped. Now you've got the Wizard of Oz characters. I mean, I'm saying random, but I guess it makes sense. Oh, there we go. You know what probably happened? I do remember this now. They had more of these signs up in the past, and I believe they've just fallen down over the years. So that's why I've lost the context. Those were probably put up back in like 2013 when they were starting this initial hope to renovate it. Yeah, maybe one day, since that Mayhall's owner purchased it, because there's a newspaper article where they said they hope to have live music and like live poetry and that type of entertainment. They didn't seem like they were going to turn it into like a movie theater where they're showing, very popular movies, but we can only hope it'll be turned into something nice one day. We'll see. So resuming our bike ride now. I believe this is West 119th. On the left here, there's some Yemen restaurant, authentic Yemeni food. I feel like that was a donut shop at one point when I was growing up, but then it's cycled through, I swear, like countless different ownership or themes. Here on the left is City Slice Pizzeria. This place recently opened, I want to say maybe this year, and it has been a very popular spot. Of course, this is like the first time I've gone by and I haven't seen people outside, but inside it looks very busy and it's gotten good reviews. So we can only hope that that type of business survives and thrives. They initially started as just a pizza place, and then I believe they were either going to or already have expanded into an ice cream parlor. And then they also have some like little arcade games inside. I'm determined to try that out one day. Now this place on the left here was active as a restaurant when I was growing up, but not anymore. This place right here on the left used to be a Danny V's. It's now a children's daycare. I know I'm focusing heavily on the left side of the street, so apologies for somewhat ignoring the right side at times. But a lot of times when I would bike ride in the past or walk in the past, I would predominantly be on the left side of the street. So even though I'm still familiar with the right side, the left side is what I feel like I know much more sharply. It's a convenient mart over there on the right. Authentic street tacos here. Boutique and leather place on the left. And then coming up on this next block at 126th or 127th, it takes up the whole block, is the Salvation Army. This area here is a new addition. When I was first growing up, this part wasn't here. This was actually the parking lot. They built that whole new front place, and also this used to be just grass, and they kind of turned this into the parking lot area on the left. Up here where it says exotic cuisine, it's another place where it's just changed many times over the years. I remember I want to say it was like a motorcycle themed restaurant was in there, but it just changes so often. Here's Assad's Bakery on the left. There's a Calvary Lutheran Church on the right side there. This place does seem fairly active. It's a barber college. I remember when I actually did a video last month going to the airport on the bus in the morning, there was a long line of presumably students outside waiting to get in. As we're crossing 129th Street. Here's Q's Convenient Drive-Thru. This place is brand new, just opened in about the past month or two. So it's like a drive-through convenient mart, which is a unique theme. And then over there on the right, I've never tried it, but there's two what seem to be popular restaurants. Cafe Roma, which says a little taste of Italy. And then further on up, there's Der Braumeister Restaurant. Oh, I should also probably mention over there, Carino Video. That's one of the few video stores that's probably still remaining. It even says $5 adult DVDs, right? So if you're still looking for adult DVDs, I guess you can go there for them. Some people may say, like, how does a video store still survive these days? And in my mind, I'm thinking, well, if you have all the other video stores go out of business, and one of them, basically the theme is like if you used to have 20 different video stores and 19 of them go out of business, the one remaining one does actually have the potential to thrive, because any business interest that's still remaining from customers, you kind of have a niche hole in that market. You just can't have too much within the population of competitors. this is Jefferson Park. They have tennis courts, basketball courts, and big grass area over there. A lot of tennis courts, actually. There's probably like 8 of them, I want to say. But one of the things I wanted to point out, which I believe I did again in one other video, not these things here. I think these birds have been here, but these benches right here are supposedly from the old John Marshall High School. Let's get a snag a picture of that too. So when the old John Marshall High School was torn down, I don't know where or how many of the artifacts were salvaged from the building, but supposedly these were like along the top of them, and they said, hey, let's save them and put them at Jefferson Park as kind of a repurposing of benches. Again, not a complaint, because I think it's a cool little bit of trivia, but unless they hold events here, which they have occasionally in the past, you're really not going to see someone just randomly walk to that spot and sit on them as benches. So they kind of just seem random that they're there. And I guarantee you, like, probably 99.9% of people who go by are going to have no clue what the origin of those benches are. So I just think it would have been a little bit neater maybe if there was even a small sign that acknowledged, like, hey, these are some artifacts of the former John Marshall High School from this neighborhood. No shortage of barber shops on Lorain Avenue. I guess that's one of the businesses. People are always going to need their haircut, so it's hard to go out of business if you have a regular client base. St. Vincent de Paul Church and School are across the street, although I believe it's no longer the original St. Vincent de Paul School. Like it says, welcome to Gala. I don't know what that stands for, but one of those maybe satellite type of schools. Got a Napa Auto Parts on the left here. Another story from when I was growing up. It used to be kind of an annual tradition that they would have a carnival here. And I know a lot of churches would hold carnivals, but this was probably the one that was closest to where I grew up, so this is the one we would always come to. So it was always neat to see the rides that they would have here. And number one thing I remember is that me and my family would go into the parking lot where they had the tent and the bingo set up, and we would play bingo. I don't think we ever won, but that was always fun to play bingo there. It's crazy when I think back, because as a kid it seemed like a huge place I was walking through. Now when I look at the space of the grass, I'm like, how the hell did they fit a carnival there? It just doesn't seem like there would be enough room for it and for all the rides and attractions that I recall. I know over there to the right there's a place called Bar CLE for Cleveland, West Park. And then over here, I don't know if this place ever has a name for the plaza. But there is a Marks here, and that's what I've always thought of it. I saw some pictures online a few months ago where someone pointed out how there used to actually be two like other grocery stores here somewhere along this strip, but during my whole lifetime this has been Marks. And when I was first growing up, you could park in the front and still get in the front, but they also had a huge back parking lot, and my mom would always park in the back and we would go in the back entrance. But then a long time ago they closed that back entrance down, so no one parks in the back now. There's a huge parking lot back there with no one using it. But there's also a Subway. There used to be a Goodwill here, again during my lifetime, which closed, and now it's a dedicated senior medical center. And then other places here right now are Little Caesars and Boost Mobile. Now if we look to the right side here, I'm still always so confused on this. That right there, I think it's a little, I don't know, I'll try to get a closer look in a second. You can see the sign here, West Park. Yeah, let me pause here for a second. So I believe that building there is still open, kind of. It says Mr. Heroes, but the signage on the outside of it used to be, covering the whole building, like in green. Now it looks like it's a deserted building from the outside, but I think it actually is still open. I don't know if you can actually go inside in order, or if only the drive-thru's open, but there may still be a Mr. Heroes location there, even though it looks deserted as hell. And then over there, that was a Giant Eagle in the past. You could still, if anyone's familiar with Giant Eagle, you can recognize the grocery store facade. Now it is a life storage place. I believe you can just have your storage there, except it's all in an inside building. And this property over here was constructed a couple of years ago. No tenant has ever actually moved in there. I know, like right before the pandemic, or right when the pandemic was starting, I did see an advertisement online where someone was promoting like, oh, we just got this space and we're going to be opening a restaurant there, but nothing ever came of it. So I assume whoever that was couldn't follow through with that location. So it's just kind of sat there and still has the for lease sign in the building. This is a barbecue place here on the left. 811 Barbecue. I don't remember that place, and maybe that's relatively new. There's a Fat Boys Country Club here on the left as well. Advanced Auto Parts is on the right. We're passing 139th Street here and getting up to 140th. There's a Shell gas station and a BP. If you went north on 140th from here, you would go over a bridge that would take you to Triscuit, right near the Triscuit Rapid Station. And if you kept on going, again, you would go by, I think, kind of close to Lakewood High School in Lakewood. Oh, you know what? I never noticed this too. If this is from John Marshall, those look like the same thing. So this seems like a more fitting spot for it, if that's the case, than the Jefferson Park one, especially since this is on the same street. So John Marshall High School, the old high school, would be down 140th going south, probably about like 8 blocks from here. And then this Wendy's was always a very popular spot for the high school kids. It didn't used to have this, you know, it used to have the old style Wendy's. Now they did construction on it and rebuilt it. They got a nice bicycle rack set up there. This lot actually seems quite popular here on the left. They got a Right Shop, some type of Chinese restaurant, place to fix your phone, and another barber and beauty salon. Anytime there's like a small parking lot like this, I just let the traffic go through, because you never know when someone's gonna jet in or out, not expecting a bicycle to be there. Here's a Marco's Pizza on the left. Even though I said that Dominoes is a place where we get our pizza a lot, actually, I don't know if they're open. No, the hours do say they're open. But when I was a kid, and look, pretzels. Who wasted Snyder pretzels? But when I was a kid, we would always, for like a stretch of maybe 2-3 years, we would park back there in this lot, and then my dad would go in, sometimes my mom, and they would go into the front there and we would, get our pizza there. These windows right here didn't used to have the signage in them, so you could sit. They had benches along those windows on the inside, and you could sit there. And I remember one time we were parked in the lot here, and my dad was sitting there, and he was doing like a goofy thing to entertain kids, where he would act like someone like was grabbing his head and like pulling him away. One of those like illusion things. Because he would be behind the window, and then he would act like a hand came from behind the wall where you couldn't see and grab him. This is a former Burger King. It's been gone for quite a long time, and no one's ever reclaimed this spot as well. Over there they don't have a big sign on the outside, so I'm not sure what the place is called. Although, yeah, now I see it on the actual building itself. It's Little Rose Tavern. So that's a popular looking spot. I'm gonna try to zoom in and grab a picture of that. I know some of this trivia that I expressed may seem kind of pointless. Like if I'm passing a Marco's Pizza, you may think to yourself like, why do I care about a Marco's Pizza? But hey, it just helps. I like talking about my own personal history as I'm going through here, because I'm sure a lot of the people who end up watching this video will probably be individuals who also grew up in this neighborhood many years ago, and you'll have your own personal and different stories. So I'd encourage you to share those in the comment section on what's different, what's new, what you remember. Now we're crossing underneath this bridge. Taking the 22 bus or the 83 bus, and I think the 86. They go into the West Park Rapid Station over here. And then that's also a stop for the Red Line, and it's also a post office location. And again, if you watched my video from about a month or so ago, I believe the title was something like how I travel when flying from Cleveland. I actually recorded the bus route down the whole Lorain Avenue that we took so far and followed the bus going into the West Park Rapid Station. And then I showed the whole ride of taking the train from West Park Rapid Station to the airport. In my mind, I've always treated Lorain Avenue different from like West Boulevard to West 140th. And then once the bridge was there at the West Park Rapid Station, moving forward, I thought of this as like the other half of Lorain that was past West Boulevard. Because even though we're not quite at Kamms Corner yet, Kamms Corner is quite a ways down. Again, it's just kind of like the mental projection I had growing up. Now this is a big change for anyone who hasn't been by here recently. So this has been a big construction change. Again, there's no plaza name that I know of what to call it, but all I can say was just shy of 150th and Lorain. The big business that used to be here was a Kmart, which was located over there where I'm pointing the camera. Sorry, I know the fence is in the way. But that area over there used to be a Kmart, and then right here used to be a diner, and then along here were a few other stores, including, I believe, a Dollar General. But a couple years ago it was announced that someone, I believe, purchased this whole property and was going to be redoing it, and they've already made a lot of progress in the construction. So first things first, this area right here, I believe, is going to be an Aldi. So they're probably shaping this to be the parking lot for Aldi. And based on the curb that I see here, I'm assuming they're going to get rid of this driveway that used to be an entrance. And I believe the Aldi store, that's probably the foundation that they're building for it over there. I was surprised when they kept that building up. Like, that might be where either the former Dollar General was or one of those other businesses that were over there, because on the mock-up of the map, I don't remember seeing, and maybe they left that there as like a to be decided in the future place, so maybe they're keeping that building up for that. But the Aldi should be here. That'll probably be the last thing that is developed. They're going to keep the Popeyes restaurant right there, and then I'll start walking a little bit further down so that we can see some of the other spots that are being developed. Oh, look at that. I was filming right in front of the fence. I could have been filming here where there was no fence. Popeyes is the only place that's still standing, or still will be standing, that was previously in this spot. Oh my God, look, a penny. I never never try to waste a chance to get a penny. You know what's even better than a penny? A dime. My lucky day, right? Okay, so right here I get a better perspective shot. And boy, they have made a ton of progress since the last time I'd been by here just a couple of months ago. So this again was where the former Kmart was, this whole strip. But the renovations that they've been doing is, this is going to be a Big Lots. It says coming soon. The Burlington facade is the most finished. And then they're still working on the facade for Ross Dress for Less. Now in my head, when I heard like Big Lots, Burlington, and Ross Dress for Less was coming here, honestly my thought was like, really? Like that seems like a... I mean, those stores individually, I usually see them, you know, at a bigger strip mall. It just seemed a little unusual to have only those three stores be the anchors. Yeah, Aldi will satisfy the grocery component, but you know, it is what it is. But yeah, they've made a lot of progress in this. It looks like they probably aren't too far away from being open because they've already taken the fences down here. And the one other thing is over there is going to be a Starbucks. So that building is pretty close to being completed as well. Now let's see if we have the ability to actually walk around here or if they have this blocked off. Well, I'm not going to walk into traffic. Just going to duck underneath this. And I don't know what's going on with the former... I mean, there used to be a Shell gas station, but now I see a Marathon sign there. They had that whole like lot torn up. Looks like it's possibly close to opening again. You can see the driveway for the Starbucks is going to be like very narrow and curving. And then further on that way you've got a Taco Bell and a McDonald's. I believe there's a Metro Health clinic down there as well. I'm going to go ahead and cross the street so I don't have to wait for a whole nother... intersection. If my recollection of former Blockbusters is correct as well, this also used to be a Blockbuster where it says Triumph. Carpet Center. I thought that was going out of business. Or maybe it is already. But time to resume our bike ride now. There's a coin laundry on the left here, which is always a bit unique because it's also the wash house and cafe, eat, drink, and laundry. So it promotes that you can do all of those things. White's wheel aligning and brake specialist, and you've got a used car lot on the right. See, Lorain is one of those things where you've got pockets, like, I'm trying to think of the right words to describe it from everything we've shown so far. It's not a full-fledged, like, cohesive, it's not like you would, I wouldn't tell someone who was visiting Cleveland, like, oh yeah, you gotta check out Lorain Avenue from, West Boulevard to Triscuit, which is coming up here. Like, because it's not something that's like a spectacle to see. There's a lot of random buildings that, I don't want to say they're deserted, but they're not something unique per se. There's some nice restaurants here and there, but they're not a conglomerate of them. You have certain shopping plazas like the Little Marks Plaza, but that's not, something to write home about. Once you get up a little bit further toward Kamms Corner, that's more of an area where you could see someone saying, like, oh yeah, if you're interested in maybe the bar or nightlife scene or a little bit of shopping, maybe check out the Kamms Corner area. There's a fire station right here. Let's see what number it is. Looks like station number 39. Oh no, it says it says 39 in the building, but then it says West Park number 1. And I already showed Eastman Branch Library earlier. This location on the left here is the West Park branch. I don't think they're redoing the outside of the building. I'm pretty sure like the renovations are on the interior. But the third one that they're redoing is the Lorain branch, which is at 100, not 100, sorry, it's like around 83rd in Lorain. Here's an Irish restaurant on the left side here. There's another Irish restaurant, Far More. Or when I say restaurant, more like a bar. This used to be a small enterprise location on the left here, but now it's it says Lyft. I don't know if they actively rent vehicles. Or if it's just like a drop-off spot for something. There's a Dunkin' Donuts and Baskin Robbins combination on the right side there. And this place on the left is Cleveland Moto, which seems to have unique vehicles anytime I pass by it. Possibly some electric bikes and actual motorcycle bikes. And this area right here is kind of what I consider or think of like the Kamms Corner area. I'm trying to debate how to film it though, because if I get too close to the buildings, you can't necessarily see the signage. And it is on both sides of the street. I think I will though get off and probably walk it. Okay, so off the bike now. Let's go ahead and press the crosswalk sign. Crosswalk button, I mean. So the 22 bus did not used to go out this way, but it used to stop at the West Park Rapid Station. Now the 22 goes all the way out to the Westgate Transit Center in Fairview Park. Kind of a similar route that we've been taking, because I'm planning on taking the bridge that goes past Fairview Hospital in the Fairview Park, but then we'll see like the Welcome to Fairview Park sign instead of continuing on in the Fairview Park, though. I plan on going down the bike trail in the Rocky River Reservation. So not all these places are restaurants, but you have a mix of like general places like karate. But then there's the Mission Fashion Boutique. Always love the little Halloween stuff. You do have some places up for lease. You've got Thai Elephant, Throwbacks. That's a pub. Southern Comfort Food and Coffee at Hatfield's Good Grub. I know it's early still, kind of like only 6 o'clock, but I'm surprised we're not seeing more people at the outdoor dining spots. Although there are some here, it's Si Senor. Let me try to get a picture of that lot. Unfortunately, when I take a lot of these pictures, the sun is in the way of the shot. There's also a supermarket here, super as in S-O-U-P-E-R, although it's closed right now. Across the street there's a Walgreens and then a few bars and restaurants over there. There's also a bike store right here. Oh, look at this. This is a at Recyclery. Although it also says they have appliances. Always love anyone gearing up for the Halloween season. Or that unique looking bicycle back there. And that one looks like a heavy duty electric bike of some kind. See, there's the appliances I was talking about. I don't know how well the camera picked it up if it was only showing reflections, but Starship Earth has a neat window display. I didn't want to. The only reason I didn't stop there is because there were two guys talking right next to it. I thought it, try not to intrude on people's conversations with a camera. So this is Smedley's that we're passing, another bar. Common Grounds Coffee House on the right side, and then what we've passed on the left there's PJ McIntyre's Irish Pub. Pretty sure that's a very popular location. And here's the corner of Rocky River and Lorain, which is known as Kamms Corner. Well, the clock is behind. It's not 5 o'clock, but it is 6 o'clock. What's gas right now? $3.55 a gallon. That's gone down a bit, right? So let's try to circle Kamms Corner a bit here. The Kamms Corner Plaza. I'll screw this back onto my chest. Instead of being right up to the buildings, I think I'll try to drive through the parking lot here so you can actually see perspective. There's a jeans place, there's a dental group, Fitness 19. It's funny because the places I used to go into here are no longer here. Like somewhere in one of these spots on the right used to be a GameStop. There's a place called Imagine That and More, a vision clinic, West Park Nutrition. Oh, interesting. There's a Kamms Ice Cream Company Corners. There's a Subway, a Romeo's Pizza. I want to try Romeo's Pizza one time because I've heard some good things about that. Mr. Hero, there's an actual live Mr. Hero spot. Supercuts, dry cleaners, Ace Hardware. Looks like a tanning spot. And then in the corner there where it says comic book shop, that I believe used to be the Record Exchange. It's nice to see that it's actually kind of a similar local business place, comic book shop. But yeah, that used to be the Record Exchange. So I would always go in there. And then on the left, there's Working Class Brewery, Dragon Towers, Red Lantern, Dollar Tree, and then up ahead, the Anchor Store, another Mark's location. I made a quick pit stop at the Dollar Tree, and parked my bike at this nice bicycle rack here, by the way. RL Red Lantern, pedal red, pedal to the, and there's a sticker covering it, to the red, I guess, to the red L. Where's the red L? Red Lantern? But where's the red lantern? Yeah, to get my butter rings, I call them butter cookies. They have yes, no, maybe on them. These are like my favorite snack ever. Used to be $1 at Dollar Tree, but now they're $1.25 since they raised the prices. But I'm gonna munch on a couple of those. All packed up again. Those butter cookies will also be a good snack for the Browns' first game tomorrow. Although, whenever this video gets posted, the game will have already happened. I always love my snacks during a Browns game, those included. Here's Mark's. I can see they got a bunch of their pumpkins in. I have to make sure I get a pumpkin to carve. Someone left the Mark's motorized vehicle there for like the wheelchair accessible ones. So the big thing coming up here is Fairview Hospital. There's also, I didn't even know this, is a Jimmy John's and a T-Mobile store on the right here. I knew the T-Mobile store was there, but I did not know about the Jimmy John's. I used to just always know it only as Fairview Hospital. I don't know if Cleveland Clinic always was a part of it or if that was more like Cleveland Clinic took them over. But now, when you see the branding, it says Cleveland Clinic, Fairview Hospital. Now we're all the way at West 178th Street. The ER would be right over there. And the actual hospital itself is more on the back buildings. There's employee parking on the right. Thumbs Up Deli for pharmaceutical catering. And then over here on the right is the Cleveland Clinic Cancer Center, the Mole Pavilion. I don't see any cars coming in or out, so I'm going to proceed through this crosswalk sign. And then this bridge here takes you from Cleveland into Fairview Park. Even though you can't see it on the video, if you were looking down from this fence, you would see the Rocky River which goes on both the left and right sides. Now, if we went to the left, which is headed south, that's where the park would go like really, really long. You know, it just keeps on going and for a super long distance. If we go to the right side, which is headed north, that takes you up toward Lakewood. And given the time of day and where I'm at, I'm only going to do the short distance, which is I'm going to make a right turn and go through Rocky River Reservation, headed toward the Lakewood direction. One day I do want to do a full bike ride through the entire Rocky River Reservation, maybe starting from Lakewood, and then, you know, if you take the whole route, you go eventually like behind the airport, and just keeps on going well beyond that as well. The days are getting shorter since we're midway through September. You're going to start losing light probably around 8 o'clock. Here we go. Welcome to the city of Fairview Park. I do think it would be nice to do a little video in Fairview Park one day. Get a little glimpse here right when you first walk into Fairview Park or drive into Fairview Park. It's called the Emerald Necklace Inn. When I see this place, it just seems like the coolest thing.